cold winter's night. Cold really is, but it is cold. Obviously, this is the first time we're using our new software Decisions, so some of you may find it different to open your agendas and everything else. You were sent them in an email form as well. You've got 2 ways of accessing it. So if you get stuck, then just I'm sure the person next to you will be able to guide you if you need to. So we'll start off the meeting with apologies for absence. I've had Councillor Glenn have 6 apologies. They're the only ones, and I think that's the only person that's missing this evening. Okay. Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest this evening that we need to be aware of from the outset, please? No. So as normal, as we go through the agenda, if we find that there's anything that you want to declare an interest in, then please raise your hand and we'll take it at that time. Public question time. We do have some members of the public with us here this evening. I don't believe they are here to speak. They've not requested to speak, unless you've got any.
Councillor Costello wanted to speak.
Is it with regards to the agenda item?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So should we do that now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If you want to speak about that now, that's fine.
Yes. So it's about the market stalls. Houghton Regis Town Council would like you to reconsider and drop the raising of the rule that means you can charge towns within 6 2/3 for holding stalls at events. When you were devolved this power by the South Wales District Council, Houghton Regis was a smaller and lot lower demographic. But now the building of 7,000 houses in South Beds was not in the offing. I feel that there has been a lot of bad feeling over this in our communities at a time local councils should be working closer together to build community relations. As Houghton Regis has doubled its size, there is enough people in the community to hold, say, 2 events on the same day, which means it will not impact on Dunstable's finances. For instance, if you refuse to write a licence at our Santa's Grotto event, which is supported by the church, a lot of good causes, Xmas wreaths, etc., or charity will not be allowed. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I hope you can consider my request.
Thank you. So when we get to that agenda item, the committee will talk more fully about the item as it's reported in our agenda packs. Thank you. So do you give me the approval to agree the minutes of the meeting held on the 2nd of September? Yeah. So we move on to town centre services, and within this we have some items for decision, which I believe, Annette, are you going to walk us through this report?
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
We can, Annette, yes.
Thank you, that's brilliant. So yes, town centre services. So I just wanted to pick up on a few little updates. So market stall bookings are looking still positive for Twilight. We're not full yet. Saturday is most probably fuller than the other 2 days. Saturday we would still most probably have a good 15 stalls to be able to fill that one. So we still need to do a bit of work just to fill that event up on the Sunday and a few more on the Friday. We'll still keep working at that. We'll still keep posting it on Facebook and encouraging people to book stalls and come to that event, because it is an extremely popular event. It's one that me and Joel work really hard on. So encourage people to come along, and we'll still keep pushing that. I literally have just gone on my emails, and at 5:30 today, the Ashton Square Toilets Awards came in. So I've been checking all day. They're finally at 5:30 they popped in, and I'm really pleased to say that Ashton Square Toilets received their Platinum Award again. So that's a real bonus again for us. They did say we worked really hard again. A few little things that we can do in the disabled toilets. There's some things we can and can't do, but yeah, the men's and the ladies' toilets both received their platinum. So it's really positive for us, and we're really pleased to keep that award. So we'll be celebrating that, most probably be putting that back on social media when I tell everybody, because today, this moment is the first time I've told you. So I'll be speaking to Rachel tomorrow, not tomorrow, on Wednesday when I'm back in, and we'll let everybody know the good news. And of course, the Rangers, because they don't know yet. Going into town centre and events, so a little bit on the Twilight again. Really good that we've had 4 really good sponsors for Twilight. So Everyone Active has come back in and sponsored the stage, which has enabled us to offer in some free face painting for the children, doing them that 3-day event. We've got Father Christmas from Rotary, which is fantastic news again. And we've had 2 local sponsors come in and help us with the goodie bags, so the children can have a free gift from Santa. That was so popular last year, and we flung through them bags. So that extra support hopefully means that every child that comes through will get a lovely little goodie bag when they come to see Santa. On the stage, we've managed to fill all the slots. I've just got 2 slots left for Sunday. I've put another post together on Facebook, so I'm hoping I can get them last 2 little slots filled for Sunday. That's the opening and the closing on Sunday. So if you do know any community groups that want to join us, I would love to hear from them just to fill them last 2 slots. So it's looking at a really good event again. And I'm sure it'll be really busy, and it'll be great for the town. There's a few dates that have been added with street food for next year, so really positive. They're coming back. They're doing the 3rd Thursday. They're doing some extra dates for us. We're looking at doing a 2-day event for Ashton Square Day, which is always a lovely one in the middle of the summer. It's one of my favourite ones, that one. So we're adding a Friday evening to that one and seeing how that works in the summer. They're also going to do one just before Twilight next year in 2025 for us. And they're going to do one last one for us this year on the 21st of December, just to see that last market out. So hopefully that'll be a positive one with street food and Middle Row finishing off 2024. There were some great events last month, and in September we had the charities join us, and again that was brilliant. That means lots of community activity. It really does help Middle Row markets. It helps bring people in, and I know some of you were there, and just want to thank you for your support during that one. That was a really nice event. And then we also worked with a couple of businesses, Balance Fit and KL Dance, who then did an active day for us. So we're looking at doing more of that next year, trying to get businesses involved, trying to get community groups involved and join us in Middle Row markets, because they are really positive for the town. I have spoken to the vegan markets, and they will be joining us again next year. We're just confirming whether they're joining us at the beginning of May or the end of May. So hopefully in the next few weeks, I will find that out, and that will go on our planner in January when Talk of the Town goes out. Vacancy rates, just a tiny little bit up from last time. Most of that jump is most probably from the Quadrant, who have about 5 vacant, and they only had 3 vacant last time. The town is staying even, so I still think it's positive. We're not jumping up and down, so I think that is positive. Everything else is pretty much as we were there. The Shared Prosperity Fund, lots of social media engagement on our benches. Positive, not positive, but I think as people use them and see how they interact, and I think they'll be really good. My kids thought they were great. We're still waiting on the Living Pillars. They haven't come back with a date yet. I have tried a few times. And we've also had 5 local artists come through to put through their ideas on an art installation along Middle Row. So we'll be looking at them this week and hopefully coming up with some ideas for 2025, where we'll have a new art installation down Middle Row using the UK SPF funding. As you've all seen, I think Christmas lights are all now pretty much up. We're now just waiting for the Christmas tree arrival, which will be on the 15th of November. And then the lights will go on, ready for the torchlight event on the 29th. We're also about to launch the Christmas window competition beginning of this week. Joel will be going out with some letters to all the shops and handing out the talk of the town and inviting all the shops to join us for our Christmas window competition. We're hoping the judging will be on the 4th of December, around about 11 to 12 o'clock. And then there's obviously the big paragraph on the markets and the licensing and the new social media pages that Rachel has put together in conjunction with the officers to hopefully for people to understand why we do license our markets. I'm most probably going to leave it there and wait for questions and see what people want to come back with.
Thank you, Annette. And just want to say before Paul comes in, just want to say what a fantastic year you've had, and the markets are going from strength to strength. And what gets me is with the events that you've put on through the market, the number of businesses, and this goes to Gina's events as well, the number of businesses that are coming on board and are quite happy to be putting their hands in their pockets and supporting the town council and the events programme. We went through a period, didn't we, where we didn't get any traction on sponsorship. And now it's almost like we're having people come to us almost every day of every week saying we want to be involved. And that's just testament to your hard work, Gina's hard work, and everybody's hard work within the council. So well done on behalf of myself and a few knots around the table as well. Brilliant. Paul, you wanted to come in.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. That was just a reminder really that in terms of the life market charter issue, we brought this to council last December. Full council received a presentation from NAVMA, went through in some detail the background and legal and historic basis for using the market charter rights. Members decided to, rather than deal with it all in committee and council session, set the working group. That working group met, had a very detailed discussion with Annette, Becky and myself about the reasons for upholding the licensing policy. It's very much about, as you know, the markets have developed in recent years to the point where we have got a very vibrant set of markets on a Saturday. That's taken a lot of hard work to get there from where we were. We do subsidise the service. It's not a profit-making thing for the council, but we do it because of what it brings to the town and the energy and vibrancy it brings to the town. The issue is as much around managing traders and ensuring there are sufficient traders to keep our markets going as it is about members of the public coming. The highlight of this is that the working group clearly decided and recommended to carry on with the policy we have, but asked that we put together some additional simpler information about the policy to make sure that everybody will understand that we have it, that's in place and why we have it. So we've proposed the additional communications for you in addition to the current policy. So the recommendation is that the council continues to uphold the current policy and adopts the additional media.
Thank you, Paul. Anybody want to comment, raise points on the market? John?
Yeah, I'm not in favour of this. I think because we only have a market on a couple of Saturdays a month, I think we should allow other towns such as Houghton Regis to hold a market on at least on the other Saturdays as well. I think that would I think there are advantages to that competition. It wouldn't be competition to us because we wouldn't be holding a market on those Saturdays. We could get an agreement with Houghton Regis, for example, for when they would hold a market on Saturdays and maybe on midweek days, because we don't hold a market at midweek. And I think it would be better to have agreements with other towns and villages rather than trying to impose ourselves and potentially stop any other town or village having a market. So I'm not in favour of this proposal.
Thank you, John. Louise and Becky, I know your hands up as well. Louise, do you want to come in first and then I'll bring Becky in?
Thank you, Chair. First of all, thank you to the Town Carpet Houghton Regis Council, Councillor Costello, and Madam Mayor of Houghton Regis, Councillor Elaine Cooper for coming. Thank you for saying what you said as well, Councillor Costello. The human part of me thinks, oh my gosh, you're our neighbours, and you know, I'm really keen for us to have a good relationship as neighbours. I don't feel that there should be any competition. We should all spread the love and share the good news, etc. And I think, you know, oh, it'd be great if we could just relax the rules. But the business part of me sees the value of the history of the market that we have here. And I think the rules are in place at the moment to enable other towns to have markets, but that there will be a charge to Dunsford Town Council. Is that right? So other towns can have markets, but they need to speak to Dunsford Town Council first and agree the fee, etc.
Yeah, and it's a nuanced policy based on a number of factors. So if it's a market at some time away from our markets, the traders who wouldn't trade on our market, it'd be quite a different approach to if it was on the same day as our markets, for example.
Thank you. So yeah, on that basis, I don't see that there's any real blocker stopping other towns from having a market. And if I look at it from a business perspective, and I look at Ashton Square, for example, the way it is currently, we have no Wilko. We also now have no Farm Foods, and that area is actually, the footfall has dramatically decreased. I think we'd be doing an injustice to our current independent businesses there if we were to not protect what we've already got in place at the moment. I think we need to really build on the market that we've got as much as possible and increase the footfall. I don't know, I like the human part of me wants to go, yeah, let's do it. But the business part of me and what we owe to our residents and our businesses says, no, we need to keep it as it is for now. I don't know if there's a possibility that we might trial something in the future whereby we're able to measure if we stop the fee, whether that does have a detrimental effect on us. But I know there's a cost to measuring footfall, etc. So I don't know how easy that would be to measure on a sort of a trial basis. But maybe it's something that the working group might want to look at. That's just my view.
Thank you. Thanks, Louise. Becky?
Thank you. So it takes a little while, doesn't it? Thank you very much, Chair. I just wanted to draw members to the information that's contained within the report and in the infograph that we've supplied as the recommended communication method to advise members of the public and the community and other organisations about the reason why we are suggesting this approach. This is a place management approach. It's not there to be problematic on purpose, but it's there to ensure that we have a positive outcome for all. There is an economy of scale here. We are working with small businesses and small traders that do not have the either the customer base to trade too many times in a month, and they do not have the ability to create enough goods to trade too many times in a month. So that's what we need to remember, who we're attracting to our markets and who are wanting to trade in and around Dunstable and the surrounding villages and towns. So we're not doing this because we want to try and make money. That's not the reason for it. It's about ensuring that we have a positive experience for both the traders and for the town and for those that are wishing to shop. So it's really important if members could just refer back to the communications appendices as to what we're trying to do here around this place management style, which, as I say, is being held up as an example of good practice by the National Association of Market Traders. And if they're seeing that this is good practice, then I really think as a town council we should be applauding ourselves and acknowledging this rather than feeling that we're not necessarily treating our neighbours appropriately. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Becky. Peter, then Greg.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm sorry, Mayor. Thank you, Chairman.
Take you back there.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, in some ways it might be seen to be a head and heart issue, but when one seeks and receives legal advice, one generally has to have a very, very good reason for not following it. And the reasons have been given. The working group noted that there has been clear advice and that any policy that we have should be applied fairly.
And in some ways, if we depart from the advice that's been given, then we're opening the door to other things happening. So all in all, given that legal advice, I think it is wise to adopt the recommendation that's been given to us, and that we do confirm our market working group's recommendation, and we continue to apply our market rights policy. And given the explanations as well at the end, the reasons why we're doing it and so on, they can be advertised properly, then I think that covers the issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Greg?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, I mean, my view on this, so I definitely agree with the arguments around not having events on the same days. That causes a lot of issues in terms of conflicting and drawing from each other. I think this is something where, I mean, my view is that officers should endeavour to meet where possible with interested stakeholders who do want to put on events well ahead of when those events are coming on. So we can plan those events. There's a no surprises situation. There won't be a conflict. Everyone can have their events in an agreed upon and fair and transparent way. I'd like to see that happen. I'd like to see that be a transparent and engagement-led approach.
Anybody else wish to speak on this? So we've got the recommendation in front of us. So it's recommended that members confirm the markets working group's recommendation to continue to apply the council's market rights policy and publishes the summary documents provided in appendices 1 and 2. All those in favour? And against? Motion's carried. Thank you. Going to pause there to allow, if you want to stay, you're more than welcome to stay, but if you'd like to disappear again.
Very much. Thank
Very
you.
much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Somebody open the side door, please, for Ed to be able to get out. Thank you. Find your chairs, ladies. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We'll now move on to the next item, which is events. Gina?
Good evening, members. The purpose of the report is to request that the committee agree a £10,000 increase as per Community Services budget report for Party in the Park as detailed in section 4 and the Community Services budget report. Starting off section 2, Priory Proms in the Park took place on Saturday 14th of September. The event was very well attended with an estimate of 1,500 people. There was a very good atmosphere in the day and it was well received with positive feedback on social media. Christmas carols and torchlight procession. The planning for the event is going well. At the moment, 12 schools have confirmed attendance with 355 children expected to attend. A road closure request has been submitted to allow the A5183 to be fully closed for the duration of the event. All businesses and residents affected will be notified in advance. As per last year also, vehicles will be used as additional roadblocks along the high street to allow the audience to stand safely in the road. We're still currently, unfortunately, waiting for confirmation from Grove Theatre and the Dunstable Ladies Choir on whether they can attend the event, but we are hopeful that we'll hear back by the end of the week. BBB Group are once again providing the light show finale, and the event has now been sponsored by Penrose Estate Agents. On to section 4, Party in the Park headliner. Officers are currently looking into the headliner for Party in the Park for next year's event. Since COVID, officers have found that the costs of artists have increased significantly, and artists available at the event's current budget range of £5,000 to £7,000 have all been previously booked, and agencies are unable to offer new acts at this budget range. The only acts which are coming through are mainly DJs and acts or celebrities which are not as well known. Previously, officers have been able to book headliners about 6 months in advance. However, it is also being found that it's becoming extremely difficult to book a named celebrity act or artist, and agencies are now advising to book within a 12 to 18 month period. Officers are concerned that at the current budget as it stands going forward, this will reduce the council's ability to book available acts, and that lesser known acts will not attract the crowds that Party in the Park has previously enjoyed, therefore will not have the positive impact with the local residents as it stands. As presented in the Community Services Budget Report, officers are asking for an increase of £10,000 for the Party in the Park budget going forward to ensure that the council can still attract a good standard of performers, which is something that the public have come to expect. The increase in budget will allow officers to approach a wider choice of artists. Section 5, to date 519 responses have been received through SurveyMonkey, compared to 476 responses from last year's surveys, with one remaining event to go. Section 5.2 shows the results from the key questions from the survey. Survey results have been so far very positive, showing an increase in the number of participants who are very satisfied in this year's events programme compared to last year. A new question which has been added to this year's survey is, Dunstable Town Council are constantly looking to improve accessibility at our events. Do you have any suggestions or comments on ways we could improve accessibility for varying disabilities and additional needs? So far, responses collected have been very good and has indicated that the Town Council has made positive strides in enhancing accessibility across the whole events programme. From the survey suggested, for SEN users, a designated secure, quiet space with lower volume and scheduled events would greatly improve accessibility to a wider range of attendees. Section 6, UKSPF Cultural Project. Officers have met with NGYT and BBB to discuss the progress so far. The project is now on phase 2 and has started phase 2, starting their programme involving workshops and mentoring sessions taking place across venues in Dunstable. Support has been given to link groups up together and to signpost where to find and apply for grants. Work has begun building with schools and relationships and has been really positive. Groups are now taking up slots at the Twilight Market, and the showcase event at Grove Theatre is currently being planned for Sunday, the 9th of March. There are also plans for a Meet the Grove event to take place in the new year to help foster and improve understanding and relationships between the theatre and voluntary and community arts sectors. Thank you.
Yeah, Gina, it's a year that's not quite over yet, is it? But the best one's still to come, isn't it? For a dry evening. Okay, any questions, members, before we get to the recommendation? Any thoughts? Peter?
Thank you, Chairman. I didn't realise Taylor Swift was so expensive. I mean, clearly, Party in the Park is one of our most prestigious events, and as has been said, we want to keep up the standard, shall we say. And if this is one of the ways it has to be done, and one can understand that people have lost income over the time that they weren't allowed to perform. So one does accept that. Clearly £10,000 is a reasonable sum. It's an increase of 10. At some stage, one will have to look at the overall budget and make sure that we can afford this particular in this area. But I'm happy to, at this stage, go ahead with this to ensure that we do attract people keep on attracting people to our this particular event. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Louise?
Thank you, Madam Chair. £10,000 is a lot of money, and I'm thinking, where do we find it? How do we cover it? And then I'm thinking, do we really need to have a big name to attract people? And actually, yes, we probably do. Will people be disappointed if we don't put this event on at all? Oh my gosh, I think they'd be very disappointed, which obviously has not been suggested, by the way. But I think I have to agree with what Peter just said, that yeah, I think this is one of the expected events. It's probably the biggest of the year, really. I think I therefore would support the additional budget. £1,000.
Nick?
Just a thought. Obviously, we'd like to keep the this attraction. It's a very big attraction. How many acts are we planning to have at the moment for the actual show? Is there any way we can do it with less acts? In other words, drop one act and then sort of use that money to help bolster the money for the Prime Act?
So at the moment, it is in the very early planning stage for the event. And a proportion of the event, we do actually utilise community groups as much as we can to actually help with the budget itself too. So it's really hard to kind of gauge whether something can be dropped until probably a later stage, just to understand that we've actually, but the main portion of the budget would actually go for the infrastructure, which obviously we know the prices are rising yearly.
Greg?
Thank you. I'm minded to support it on the same grounds as other councillors. I mean, the Party in the Park is a huge event, and if you go around and you ask people there, a lot of them don't live in Dunstable. It keeps Dunstable on the map. It's not just an event for that day. It's an event that makes people think about, maybe I should go to Dunstable and do my shopping in Dunstable, or that sort of thing. So I'm definitely minded to support it. Yes, maybe we charge slightly more for concessions or something. I don't know.
Anybody else? Trevor?
Yeah, no, excuse me. Yeah, no, I agree. When I looked at it, I thought to myself, £10,000, that's reasonable. So if you're looking at headline acts like Marvin Hughes,
Absolutely.
that's nothing compared to what these acts can get sort of in other areas. And when you look at the historic side of Party in the Park globally, there is always a headliner. So in terms of that, I think, like, as Greg said, looking at concessions, we want to keep that sort of like income stream coming, so people are sort of buying stuff, food and drinks. So yeah, I fully support it.
It's really hard, isn't it? Because we get to the point where that event has to happen because it brings the 5,000 people into our town, whether they're residents or whether they're visitors. But we also have to think about the affordability, and we have to think about where's that £10,000 coming from, and it's the impact that has on our budget and our budget setting for next year. Because ultimately, where does our money come from? We know it comes from our residents and their council tax. So we need to be a bit mindful, you know, and whether we need to do a review of events going forward, so that we start to think about the cost of our events in a much bigger piece of work, just to make sure that those prime events that we're talking about remain in our calendar, and we maybe have to review some of the other things we do to see whether we have to find a balance somewhere. I'm just conscious that we're going to have pulls on our money for lots of different things over the next 12 months. And when we get to the budget round in the next few weeks and months, we're going to be asked for different things. So just be mindful of it. But equally, we know that that has to happen out there. Wendy?
No, I was just going to say the same. You know, maybe we can look at the event programme and see if there's one event that we could cut out where we could take the money that we spend on that and put it onto that event. It is hard, but we do need that one. It's a very hard decision, but we do need it.
So recommendation then, through the budget setting process for committee to agree £10,000 increase as per community services budget report for Party in the Park as detailed in section 4 and the community services budget report. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much, everybody. Then we go to Priory House.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members. Start off with point one. The showcase shelving is fully booked for November, December. That is still proving popular. We are getting some new traders coming in. There was some work done with the Young Traders Market and some feedback taken about doing a sharing scheme where they could split the shelves, because a whole shelf section for a young trader was quite daunting for them. So we're going to look at starting some packages next year that we're going to then target the young traders and try and promote that as well. So try and diversify those traders we're getting in. Christmas stock is out. We have started. We've got to keep up with competition. It seems to be getting earlier and earlier, so we have gone for it. And the outdoor furniture we are putting out as and when weather is good and whether there's the demand for it as well. So we are keeping active on that. It's not a final decision, that's away now. So we are being reactive to our customers there. Point two, events. Priory House will have a stall at the Torchlight selling glow sticks, and we will be open into the evening as well, doing the best we can with what we've got for the evening. The ticket sales for the Christmas workshops are selling very well. Today we sold out the last Christmas cakes, so that's now 26 Christmas cakes sold. So that's gone very well, and we've only got a few tickets left for the second tea blending workshop. The first one sold out as well, so they are selling very well, so that's really positive, and the team are really looking forward to that, and starting to perk things up a little bit and get a bit busier for Christmas. Moving on to point three, the Priory House refurbishment. The additional bid for funding to allow the project to continue was successful with the National Lottery Hedge Fund and Heritage Historic England. Officers are currently working with the funders' communication officers to create a communications plan to the community about this. Work is progressing well. However, there are some delays due to the wall painting conservations, and it's running about 2 weeks behind schedule, but we're hoping this is going to be resolved soon and can continue. But the work at the moment is planned for summer 2026 completion. And this has been updated on our website and with our customers in the shop now. As the programme stands, due to the roof in the shop, there is planned closure for the shop for an estimated 9 weeks from April to mid-June. However, with the programme, this could change if there more works are needed. Moving on to point four, finance. So as members will see, the shop is still doing well. Officers are trying new stock, trying new stockists, looking at competitors in the town and looking at what gaps there are in the market, and that is proving well to find some niche products. And French Chic is still one of our best sellers of stock. It brings in people far and wide from outside the town, and that is proving very good for us. Tea rooms takings. The summer wasn't as busy as it was hoped. It was a little increase on the other months, but unfortunately just wasn't enough to really see a big difference. Despite the weather wasn't great throughout the summer and it was a bit hit and miss, but obviously did try everything. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa, and really appreciate all the hard work and efforts that are going into keeping Priory House going by you and the whole team there through some difficult, challenging times. So thank you. Louise?
I've got 2 questions and a comment. My first question is probably a really silly one because I think I know the answer. 2.1, Priory House shops staying open till 9 p.m. Will you be selling hot drinks and stuff?
Yes.
Yes, awesome, thank you. The second one was a comment regarding the projected completion date of summer 26. Like, that's really good that we've actually got an end date in sight that we're able to say, yeah, we think it's going to finish in summer 2026. Feels like ages away, but it'll probably fly. And then the other thing was a question with regards to the take-ins. You mentioned that the take-ins have not been as good as you might have hoped. Have you found that the Splash Park has been a bit of a competitor for you?
No, not really. It's different clientele, I think. So no, I don't think so. It's just that we just haven't had the regular customers come back. We, we can't accommodate large groups, and when it's raining outside, we ain't got the room inside for people to move, and I think people are very aware of that. So they don't now risk the walk through town to think, oh, we'll go up to Priory House. But if it's a bit iffy, then they kind of stay away because they don't know what the weather's doing. So I think that was certainly the feedback we got from some customers over the summer. The event days that we were open did very well. But it's just, I was hoping to see a bit of a bigger increase over the couple of summer months with take. But I don't think it had anything to do with the splash park.
The summer, actually, the weather didn't really help, did it? But I think it's brilliant. The takings that you've got are really good considering all the works that are going on at the moment. It's a really challenging work environment. So well done.
Thank you.
Okay, Wendy?
Just a quickie, when the shop shuts in, whenever it is, will you be able to move any of the stock over to the splash park and sell it there?
That could be looked at. I mean, we have tried stock over there. We tried stock at Creasy and we tried stock at Splash several times, and it's never sold. They've still got stock there from last summer we tried to sell, and it just didn't sell. But I mean, it don't mean we can't try again.
Yeah.
But obviously space, and one of the issues at Splash is storage is a major issue for them. So, if they haven't got, I know they struggle with storage for their own stuff, never mind adding on our stock to sell. So, but if we can, we will try. But yeah.
Thank you. Just a clarification on 3.3 and 3.4. It says work progressing well due to the wall painting conservation. Do I understand wall paintings are still in the Jacobean room and that work is being done on them there?
No, so these are wall paintings that have been found additional to them in the building. So the Jacobean wall paintings were removed some time ago and put into storage. These are wall paintings that have been found in the upstairs exhibition area.
Brilliant. Okay. And 3.4 about plan for the closure of the shop. Is that to remedy what was found a little while ago, rather than work being done in the rest of the?
Yes, it's for the roof repairs. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, just one, we talked about putting the furniture outside still. That little canopy along the side, is there capacity to put a couple of cafe tables there?
Yes, we do put them. No, because it's the disabled ramp, so we have to clear at all times.
That would be an ideal, wouldn't it? With
Yeah.
a canopy there as well, just as an option.
Yeah.
Keep trying.
Yeah.
Excellent. Any other questions for Lisa? No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Grove Corner and community engagement.
Lovely, thank you. Good evening, members. I'd like to draw your attention just to a few key parts of the report. So Grove Corner figures 1.1. Grove Corner's received 320 visits from young people between the 13th of August and the 18th of October. And 1.2 Pokemon sessions have received 103 visits from young people between the 3rd of September and the 15th of October. Section 2, 2.1. The new session times at Grove Corner have been working well. Despite the 16 to 18 sessions still been quieter than hoped, the engagement that's been had with those who attended has been really positive. There are some young people with special educational needs and or disabilities, and so having quieter sessions has actually made that more accessible for them to be able to attend. Officers have continued to promote the sessions and have visited Central Bedfordshire College, Priory Academy, Ashton St Peter, St Augustine's Academy, Beecroft Academy, Ardley Hill, and we're in contact with other schools to plan assemblies to continue to promote sessions. And since this report was written, we have seen an increase in figures because of those assemblies that we've been doing. Section 2.2, the detached team have been running sessions on a Friday evening from 6 to 9 p.m. in Dunstable East, and they've been opening Grove Corner from 8 to 9 on the evenings when it's been colder. However, these have only been attended by a handful of young people, and we've done that because of where the session time has changed to see if there was any impact. And officers have been engaging with Bedfordshire Police and Central Bedfordshire Council's community safety team, and we're not aware of any antisocial behaviour increases as a result of us changing the session times to be finishing at 8 p.m. on a Friday in the centre. And young people have fed back to officers that they really like the time of the new sessions in the centre. And particularly the older young people been able to access that straight from school or from college, as opposed to going home and having to come back out again. And then in section 3, under our detached work, you'll be able to see, members, a list of different areas that we have been delivering sessions. Under 3.3, we're continuing to liaise with the Dunstable Centre regarding an application form for external funding. And if successful, this will be to offer free and affordable activities for young people at the Dunstable Centre, and the detached team would support on this by providing youth workers to be at those sessions to help with positive engagement from the young people at the centre. 3.4, we ran several activities over the half-term holiday for young people, and as listed there would be a verbal feedback tonight. So on Friday the 25th of October, we did biscuit decorating at the Splash Cafe, which saw 40 young people attend. On Monday the 28th, because of the weather, they decided not to do giant games but did hot chocolate instead, and had 16 young people attend that and had some good conversations. And then actually the team have fed back, they then went for a walk and they did engage with other young people on that evening, but the 16 is specific to the skate park. Wednesday the 30th of October at Kingsbury Recreation, they had 29 young people engaged with football and boxing. On Thursday, the 31st of October, there was a game and face painting at Ashton Square, which 28 young people attended. Again, the detached team then went out later that evening because of Halloween and engaged with further young people. So that figure is specific to the activities that were on at Ashton Square. And then Friday, the 1st of November, the Relax and Chill at the Splash Cafe, that was quieter. They only had 3 young people attend, but that is kind of to be expected because of it being half term. A lot of the young people that go to that session is on their way home from school. So actually that we weren't as shocked with that figure. And then 3.5, between the 15th of August and the 19th of October, officers have engaged with 738 young people by head count. 388 of these young people have been in Dunstable East, and the remaining 350 have been in the rest of the town. So that's from the detached team. 3.9, 2 part-time new detached workers are going to be joining the team next Monday. One will be 16 hours per week and the other 19 hours per week. And these workers will be put on a level 3 J&C youth work certificate as part of their course. Section 4, 4.2, officers worked with St Augustine's Academy, Ashton St Peter, Priory Academy and Ardley Hill to plant bulbs ready for the spring. Officers with students from the school planted over 2,000 bulbs, and these bulbs have been planted in the school grounds and surrounding areas. And in section 5, community engagement, officers ran a free arts and crafts morning at Bennett's Cafe last Tuesday, and 30 children attended this as well. I think that's probably everything. Breathe.
The engagement levels and the work that the team are doing, I was driving home this evening and got Albert from the dog groomers and I was coming up Kingsbury and out comes the youth workers walking into the park and whatever. It's just they're there all the time, aren't they? And they're making a huge difference to the people of Dunstable and the young people of Dunstable. So really fantastic work.
I think one thing I've not mentioned is today I went with some of the other officers to the University of Bedfordshire. So there was a celebration of youth work. So there were lots of youth workers from the county, and we were looking at the different levels of youth work. So both centre-based and detached, and the value of both. And so I think kind of what you were just saying, Councillor, about actually in the parks. At the same time, the centre was open this evening. So we're trying to cater for lots of young people in our town.
I think the school engagement is really working, isn't it? I know that some of the families that I've spoken to, where they've been in those schools and the kids have come back and they really want to engage. So well done. Please express our thanks. Peter.
Thank you. Yes, I'm always impressed with the work that you and your team do. I'm thinking of the hard to reach youngsters and the work with the schools. There are those who could benefit from attending Grove Corner who perhaps for one reason or another don't come. And I'm just wondering if you feel that the work you're doing with the schools are bringing some of those perhaps hard to reach groups to Grove Corner, because if they are, then that might itself generate others. It's a very difficult one, and whatever body I've sat on, hard to reach sometimes comes to the fore,
Mm.
and it's not an easy one to solve.
So I think on that, my team are engaging with young people that would be classed as hard to reach for different reasons. Some young people in the town that potentially are involved in antisocial behaviour, having talked to partners, so the police and community safety. I'm very aware that my team are engaging with those young people as well, whether that be through detached, whether that be that they're coming into the centre. But also with other services, so early help at Central Bedfordshire Council, we've got good relationship there. So they sometimes will contact us about young people, as will schools. So we know we're not going to be able to reach all young people, but we're doing what we can to reach lots of different young people, and the different challenges that that can bring depending on young people's needs of all young people.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Louise?
I've got a question, but I'm just going to start with saying that I say it every time. The work you guys do, guys and gals, sorry, is phenomenal. I live here in the centre of town, and I walk through Grove Gardens. I walk past the skate park, and there is a massive difference in what used to exist before in terms of antisocial behaviour. I just don't see it at all anymore. So it's clear, you know, you put two and two together, it's got to be the work that you're doing, especially with the outreach. So, but engaging with young people is so important, especially as a council, involving them, getting in touch with them by whatever means is just really good. I love the work that you do. My question is, you obviously going out to schools, don't know how you're finding the space or capacity to do that, because I know you're all so busy already. Is that something that you plan to continue to do on an ongoing basis, visit the schools and the educational institutions?
Yeah, so it's something that we have done historically for a long time. We usually do find kind of once you've had the summer holidays, you will see a slight dip in our numbers because young people will move on, whether that be that they move on because they've outgrown it, whether it be that they move on because they've gone to university. So often at this kind of term, we are out at schools kind of actually going and showcasing what we do. As part of that, in the kind of primary schools, we've been doing some stuff around kind of online safety as part of our assembly, because we've been linking that to kind of our gaming suite. And that's something that schools have been really thankful for that we're doing because of different challenges that they're seeing. So we've used that in the assembly tool to promote Grove Corner, but to also talk about our gaming. So yes, we will keep going into the schools and doing what we can where we can.
Companions?
Lovely, thank you. So again, I'll just draw your attention to a few key parts. So section 1, Good Companions Club. So the Good Companions Club currently have 21 members now. Sadly, since I wrote this report, a member has passed away. So officers continue to promote Good Companions Club, and the group have received several inquiries, but we are aware that as the colder weather approaches, this may have an impact on how many attend due to that clientele group. And I think it's really worth noting, and I think I have mentioned it before, that although Good Companions is for 75 plus, the average age of a lot of our members at the moment is their late 80s, early 90s. And so just to kind of put some context behind that for members. Section 2, Creasy Park Community Football Centre. So the group has had various speakers and activities over the last few weeks. They have been on a trip to Whipsnade Zoo. They've had a talk from Age UK. They've been on a bowling trip. They had a talk from a local beekeeper, a visit from the mayor. The group also attended Central Bedfordshire College to have a free-course meal, which was catered by the students studying food and hospitality at the college. And this was really well received from members at the lunch club. So officers have got another visit planned in December before they take the group to the pantomime, and exploring in the future how we can continue that partnership. 2.4, so officers had a challenging meeting with Bedfordshire Football Association regarding Creasy Park. Officers met regarding budget setting to discuss current costs and potential future changes as requested by BEDSFA. Officers also provided BEDSFA with feedback from members of the lunch club regarding concerns of the quality of food and portion sizes. Officers were advised that the centre was a football centre, not a community centre, and this means it is a community centre for those playing football, not community-based organisation. They referred to the fact that they'd inherited lunch club and this would not be something they would have chosen to do. Going forward, the town council is going to subsidise 50p per person per week until the end of the financial year to see if this improves the quality of food provided. And then from next April, it's going to be recommended that members' weekly fees would be increased by the same amount. Section 4, Rock and Roll. So Rock and Roll took place on Tuesday, the 1st of October. And this was really well received by all 63 people who attended. Members, you may have seen today that the second Rock and Roll has been advertised for Tuesday, the 10th of December. So tickets only went on sale this morning and already just over 30 have sold, which is fantastic. So I imagine that will sell out quite quickly. Thank you.
I'm sure there's other points that are going to get raised as well, but I'm disappointed to read 2.4 and the attitude that was shown towards our officers from Bedfordshire Football Association. It is a community centre and a community facility, always has been and always should be. And I know we're talking to Central Bedfordshire Council with regards to that situation, but I'm disgusted by it, and it shouldn't be that situation at all, First and foremost, that was always been our community centre, and the people of Dunstable deserve better. Anybody else wish to say anything on the report? Wendy?
Only that can't Central Bed Council do something about Creasy Park and their attitude towards it being a community centre? Surely that was the agreement they signed up to, and they shouldn't be, if that's what they agreed to, they shouldn't be serving up bad food, whether it costs them more or not. That's what they took on. So it was what they budgeted for when they.
I think it's more as well, isn't it? The fact that it's the food and the quality and the small size portion, but it's also about the attitude towards we're not a community centre. We're not here for the community. Unless it's football related, we don't want to know what's coming out, and that's not right. So those Central Beds members that sat around this table, please, see what you can do in your conversations into Central Beds as well. It's not fair on our community analysis of Dunstable. Louise?
I have a question with regards to the 2.4. Is it only the food quality and portion size that's an issue? I know that the attitude is not what we'd like to hear, but is that the only issue that we've really got within that service?
That has been the main issue. So in terms of the delivery of what we as a town council are doing, there has been no feedback of concern from members. There has been some notable change since Beds FA have taken over. Some of those things Beds FA have explained kind of why things have been put in place. So an example would be they've changed their chairs, but actually they explained why they changed their chairs. And they have still got some of the old chairs that could be used by our members, so we could put reasonable adjustment in if we needed to. So there are a few things that have come up, but a big part of it from our lunch club members at the moment has been around the quality of food, portion sizes, etc., etc. So we are looking at kind of by subsidising this 50p per week per person, and we are aware that food has increased. We are aware that is the case, so we kind of do know that and acknowledge that. So we're hoping by kind of putting this subsidy of 50p per person, so it then been a bit more for each person for the food, that hopefully that will make a change, and that our members and our long existing members of that lunch club, because a lot of them have been there many years, and so actually for them to come and then notice this change. And when I'm speaking about members, I'm not just speaking about a handful, I'm speaking about nearly all of our members have actually come and voiced to officers some concerns at the moment.
Rather assuming that within the agreement that the lunch club was certainly part and parcel of what the winning side, shall we say, would be doing. I'm a bit concerned that it says this would not be something they would choose to do. It's almost as though there's something in the air that they might not continue. So in a way, there's two questions. One, their liability to continue with the holding the lunch club there. And two, whether or not they could back out.
Yeah, just to comment that I think I mean, the food issue is solvable, so actually the
Yeah.
VP thing will solve that issue, and we have solved that. I think the issue, the reason it was put in the report is more just the general the statement of this isn't a community centre, it's just a football centre. So you may want to ask me to write on your behalf to CBC to say this has been said, are you aware, do you agree with that statement? And ask for CBC's formal response to that to find out actually is that just a passing comment that actually wasn't meant the way it came out, and actually CBC would disagree with it and clarify the matter, or is there actually a fundamental change?
I think I would like that to happen because I think we are all concerned from the community point of view. And as you say, that the lunch club has been there for many years and it is a lifeline to some people. And I believe there is a waiting list. So it is something which we should be concerned about.
You happy? Everyone happy for Paul to do that for us? Please, do you want to come back in?
Yeah, thank you. That kind of led into my question in that I imagine we don't have sight of the agreement between CBC and Leicester Fabian as well, do we? So do we know that's actually in the agreement? So I guess if you write to CBC on behalf of the council, then we'll find that out. But yeah, I agree. I think, you know, for some of those members, that's the only time they get out and socialise and have a nice thing to do. So it is concerning that that might be the attitude of NZFA. So yeah, fully support that. Thank you.
Any other points? No? Very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to budget. You then, Paul.
That would be me, yes. Decisions work, just like it.
I know, it just took a while for it to open in mine as well.
So members, this is your first step. So as with last year, we will discuss budgets in two committee rounds. So in this committee round, this is your chance to look at the increases or decreases recommended of £1,000 or more for this committee. Then at the next, what we're not telling you right now are the overall budget numbers and what that means in the total budget, because we're still working through some of the details around salaries, council tax base, which we may have in time for FGP, part of moving Walden, which we live it might be the next round when you get the complete budget. So this is in point as a principle to just highlight the proposed significant changes for this committee, bearing in mind you have agreed a few items already because we have to crack on with them. So for example, the £10,000 we just discussed, we pay a deposit and get that out in the bank now. We can't wait until January. So the normal way of council business, there are lots of things we commit to outside the budget round. So you'll see there we've got red items are increases and blue items are savings. Some of those, such as, for example, lunch club catering on legal services fees, are just inevitable cost rises for the services we're providing. We're going to discuss the downside lease later on. You've already talked about the youth festival. Downside roof works, we did put that in our 4-year budget to be done this year, last year. So last year was year 2, this is year 2. So we do need to now put that in the budget this year. Priory House exhibition. So to be clear on that, with Priory House, there will be a saving in the coming financial year because the majority of the building closed, so we won't be employing staff to run it. So there'll be a saving of at least 100,000. So the recommendation is that where there is that saving of 100,000, to put that in an earmark reserve for the future exhibition space, fittings, furniture, or anything else that may happen to that building in the next 18 months, because none of us would confidently say anything that is secure, despite the amazing work professionals we've got. So again, some costs will just go up, and then the savings, you'll note. So there are some movements between. You'll see when you get all the budgets put together that with telephones, we're combining budgets together, so it will be a clearer way of seeing it across budgets. Increase of income higher from Grove Corner, utility saving, and you'll see some utility savings across budgets in the coming financial year. And obviously, we're not now running HAS, so there'll be a saving there from what was the council's annual contribution to HAS during the period. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions, members? Stunned silence. That's stunned silence because you're happy with it, you're in total agreement with it, or stunned silence that you need some further explanation.
Lots of people were struggling. I could see it in their eyes, so I just sent a link round.
Are members happy with their understanding of the budget and how it's all recorded and reported? Are there some members that it's new to them that would still benefit from a session? Paul's always available if you want to better understand things, to explain further and in more detail as well. You know, some people figure work isn't their best, is it? Please.
I do have a question. I just want to say that looks great. All the savings, like there's loads of savings. I know budget setting is hard. It's hard for council officers. It's a really difficult piece of work. But over the last year, with all of the, especially with James's work in compliance, etc., and the money savings that he's helped to make, I think we're in a much better position than we might otherwise have been. But the positive start, loads of good savings there.
Nick?
On that point though, is there a net figure between the increases and decreases, which is not on the sheet of paper, or doesn't appear to be?
No, so intentionally not, because we haven't included the salary figure in there, which is a huge element for each budget, but because we're still working salaries through, at the moment, we're just giving you what are the changes from last year before we get on to that salary and other just generally cost increase.
And I take it the budget's 2% increase in employers' national insurance, that will affect us as well. Is that correct?
Yes, but that's part of the reason we're not giving you salaries at the moment, because we're still working that through.
I think it's that anything is until we see that final figure and that final bottom line.
How much have we got to go?
Yeah.
Cap in hand.
Yeah, exactly. It is that conversation again, isn't it?
I mean, the headline is this is going to be an expensive year because of the world we live in. But we're working really hard to give you a 3-year budget this year, which will give you a clear and consistent approach for the next 3 years. So it might be a painful increase this year, but then 2 more years, which are a lot less so. Yeah. And as Chair said, if anyone would like either a one-to-one with myself or Lisa for a casual chat, happy to do that. If members generally would like kind of our team's briefing on budget and the process behind it to ask any detailed questions, also very happy to do that. Whatever, get in touch, let me know. Whatever time. It's one of the subjects we're very happy to spend as much time as it takes.
So, on the downside roof, is there a date when that is actually going to be replaced? Or I know obviously we've added more money to the pot, we're going to, but
so the plan is to do it in the coming during 25-26.
It will be 25. That's when the money will come back out of the pot.
We've got a recommendation here then for members to consider and comment on draft budget proposals on fees and charges for the Community Services Department for 25-26, as well as the indicative budget changes for the following 3 years, and make recommendations to finance purposes committee accordingly. Be in favour to do so? Very much, everybody. Need to come out here with. Okay, so moving on then to reports from outside bodies. We've got Southwest Dialogue, Councillor Hollick.
Thank you. Yes, there's a meeting next week on the 13th of November, so I'll be able to give a proper report at the next round.
you. Rob's not here, Council Town Band, and Councillor Atwell sent me a message earlier to say he hasn't got any updates following his very detailed update he gave at the last meeting. We now move the exclusion of public and press, and in terms of Schedule 12A Local Government Act 1972, the following items will be likely to disclose exempt information relating to establishment and contractual matters. It's therefore recommended that pursuant to the provisions of the Public Bodies Admissions to Meetings Act 1960, the public and press be excluded. Is that you seconded? Thank you very much. All in favour? Thank you. George?